Hey guys, so this time, as I promised, we're going to check out a little offline online application. This one is using, as I said before, Node, Express, Mongo, and Angular. Okay, so this one is Angular 7. We are not on Angular 8 yet, so let me show you how this works. So let's open the console. The Chrome console. Let's make this a little smaller so it doesn't break that bad. And the last one was always the last one was a progressive web app. Okay, so this one is a progressive web app too. Why we need the applications, in this case Angular, to be progressive web app or any other application? Because we need to check the online and offline settings of the browser. Okay, so we cannot do that using the localhost. So this one is running in HTTP server. HTTP server. So download that using npm. Okay, so as I've been saying before, these courses are not for beginners. These code reviews are not for beginners. We will build something later because I've been checking comments, and yes, I know I need to do to grab most of my repos and do something for beginners using those repos. So don't worry, we will get there. Just that I still don't have the time, to be able to create all those tutorials from scratch. So right now I'm just building applications as I can and using them to show them on the channel. So right now, don't worry too much if you don't understand. Well, if you know Angular and not Express, you should get straight this thing using Dexie. We're using Dexie, okay? Dexie, yes, I think it is. Okay, so this will allow us to use the IndexedDB. So as I said, these are not reviews, code reviews, tutorials, however you want to call them. These are not for beginners. In case you are aware of how Angular, Node, Express, and Mongo work, then you shouldn't have any problem with this. Okay, but if you don't understand them, well, we will build something later from scratch. Sorry if I'm taking a long time to create tutorials, but the tutorial for beginners. But I need to check some editing and all that. So I just wanted to say this in this video. Maybe I will add another video explaining why I haven't done that, but just bear with me. Okay, so let's continue with this. So in this case, you know that it starts first using online. So let me check service worker. We are online right now. Okay, so this is using my mlab, this to-dos collection. So let's say first to do, and this is the first to do. Let's hit submit, and we get the first to do. So let's go to this one. This is going to be a long video, okay? So we get the ID, the title, the content, and this done. I forgot to remove that because I wasn't using it. I'm not using it, sorry. So don't mind about that. So we get the first to do, and everything fine. We can delete it. We can check the database again, refresh, and it's gone. So now we're going to check offline. Okay, all this, as I said, is a progressive web app. So if we refresh, all the assets and all the things are being stored inside the browser. Okay, inside the cache. So let's say first post. This is the first post, well, post or to do, whatever. So we hit submit, and the form gets resetted, and okay, but we can see anything because at this state we are offline. Okay, so if I check the console, we check here something that says save in DB. DB is now, we can see that this is going to be saved in the IndexedDB. Okay, we will check that in a second. So we store the content, the DOM, and the title. Okay, so this, as you can see, is an array of objects. So let's go to application. That's why I'm saying this is not a beginner's course, because if you haven't worked with index, if you're still learning, you know, then you haven't touched this, and you haven't touched most of the technologies I'm going to use in my other core reviews. And so, you know, so it takes time for me to create a tutorial based on that for beginners. So we have the, I think it's my test database. You can see something here. Okay, we have the first post. That is the post that I had. Let me click that. So we get the first, this is the first post and all that. Okay, so this one is the post I just created. So it's stored in this IndexedDB. Okay, every browser has this IndexedDB API that you can use. So now this is stored inside here, and if I add another one, we're going to store that in another object inside this database. Okay, this is a database, so we can store even files, although I haven't checked that. So you will get the idea of how this works. Now let's go to application, and let me check Serviceworkers. If I click offline, let me see because I've been checking, you will see that it made a request to my Express. I haven't updated this, so don't worry if you don't see anything here. So we're getting the first post and the content. Okay, so if I refresh here, I added that being offline. Okay, I get the first post, and if I refresh, I get the first post. Okay, so let's start with the code. I will show you what I have in the package.json. So remember, this is not a in-depth or a from scratch course. Okay, so if you're waiting for something like that, you will need to wait a little longer. So I'm using, well, I installed this, but I didn't need that because Mongo creates their own ID. I added the progressive web app functionality to this one. Okay, so we need that. This is important. And let me check. I installed Dexie. As I said, Dexie is a wrapper that allows us to create these databases and read from the databases that are inside the browser API that are the IndexedDB. Okay, so this is great if you want to have some offline capabilities, because you can store your information inside the IndexedDB if the user is offline, and then when the browser checks and it says, okay, we are online, we are back online, then you can add some functionality to fetch or post your requests. Okay, so let's check that right away. Now we're going to check the first service. So this is going to be a little fast because it's kind of a lot of code. Let me check. Okay, we're going to have this service that is called offline service. Okay, although it should be called offline online service, but what the hell. So we will need this window because we need to check if we are if the browser is online or offline. We're using only the browser settings. Okay, we need the subject to get a hold onto that connection. So we create this private variable called internal connection change that is going to have a new subject, and when the service is instantiated, when the service is created, we're going to add these listeners to the window. Okay, the window, we have it here, so we need to declare this constant to be able to get the window object inside Angular. Okay, so we are going to run the online status change, that is this function, that what is going to do whenever the constructor is instantiated, whenever the service is added or the application starts, we are going to check if the navigator, this window navigator, is online. So essentially we're checking, I'm just consoling this, but we are checking if this is true or false. Okay, so we are going to pass that into the subject, and our constructor is going to listen to those changes. Okay, I think I cannot, let me refresh that. No, I cannot see that. Okay, for some reason I cannot see that. So what this service is doing, so here we're checking is online, so we're going to return if we are online or not. Okay, this is forcing it to be true or false, so we are checking if we are online or not. Connection change. So yeah, we're going to return this as an observable, so we can get a hold onto that. So essentially what this is checking is adding to the window the capability to listen if we are online or offline using the navigator property inside the window. So what we're going to do now is go to the to-do service, because there is a lot of information here. Okay, and you can see I added here the offline service. I imported Dexie, okay, that is the wrapper from the IndexedDB, and I added my HTTP client and headers because I need those to make a call to the API. I still haven't shown you the API, so let me show you how my structure is. Do we have this Angular offline online sync? That is what we are working on. And we have this node Mongo, that is the API. We're going to check that in a second, so don't worry. Now, so let me check. Yeah, we got our instances, nothing else is broken there. Okay, so we need to create the databases to be able to fetch and store data inside the IndexedDB. We need to create the databases. Okay, so we have this create index database and this that create done to do's database. Why we need two? Because one is going to be in charge of adding the new to-dos, and the other one is going to be in charge of marking and deleting the to-dos that we mark as to be deleted. So let's go to this register to events that so it's going to check what we are going to check the connection. Remember that we have this connection changed here, that is going to return the instance of the connection. Okay, so we're going to check, because we're passing here the offline service to be a type offline service, this offline service variable. So we're going to check if this connection has changed. So we're going to pass this online variable to check if we are online or we are not online. Okay. So this is going to register to every change we have on the, in this case, you will see that using the online offline. Okay, so you can see that we're consoling this, we're getting the false, we're offline, we're inline, we're inline. Okay, so when offline is stored into IndexedDB, so everything we add inside the form is going to be added inside the IndexedDB. True, and it says when online, then we are back online and we are sending all the stored items in the IndexedDB to or not and express. You can see here that we're getting arrays. We're sending the request to the API. Okay, so we are actually sending something to the API every time we are back online, and every time we are offline, we're just going to store everything inside the IndexedDB. Okay, so that's essentially it. Let me move that. Okay. You will see some bulk messages here, but we're not doing nothing there still. So essentially, if we are inline online, we're just going to console this, and we are not still sending anything. Okay, here we're going to send what we have on the IndexedDB. So this is what I'm been saying before. This is not a beginner's tutorial. Okay, this requires a lot of code. Well, maybe not that much, but it requires a lot of moving the info or the data between places, and this is why I often do this kind of code reviews instead of tutorials. Okay, so we're going to send these items. We're going to use send items from IndexedDB. So let's check send items for IndexedDB. So as I say here, send the to-dos to the backend to be added inside the database. So that means if we are no, this is not it. Okay, if we are online, sorry. So this is going to happen when we are back online. Remember that. So send items from IndexedDB. In the case we have the items now on the IndexedDB, that you can see that we are sending an empty array. We're just going to console right now, sending items, and all the items, we're going to check them. We're going to receive all those items from this DB. That this DB is let me see, because where the hell am I? Okay, this is a private variable, but I even forgot to tell you something. Let's make a little pause here. So right now, remember, as we are back online, we are sending something. Okay, so let's wait there. As I said before, we need to create this index, both databases, one for the new items and the other one that is going to delete or mark the items that need to be deleted. Okay, so first we create the IndexedDB that is going to store all the items inside the IndexedDB using Dexie. So we create this private DB and we add, or we assign that to the new database. Okay, we create a new database using new Dexie and the name of the database. So let's check that. Inside application, IndexedDB test database, I think is the name, right? Yeah, test database is the one I showed you. So we have these to-dos, okay? Now, we need to add a version. This is important. I need to add this, what is going to store. So what is going to store is a to-do with the title, content, and done. That you can see is what we have here. Content, done, and title. So then we need to open the database. And well, this is just going to open the database and we're going to check for an error if something happens. Else it's just going to keep the database open, okay? And it's the same for the other one, that is going to be the one that marks the to-dos to be deleted, stores them in the database, and sends, after we are online, those IDs to be deleted. So right now you can see we're just adding the ID because that's the only thing our API needs. Okay, so let's get back where we were. Let me because well, let's continue with that. Let me see. We have the book deletes, the book to do. We're listening to the events. We're listening to the events there also. I already showed this one. Those are the same, just with different names, because we are writing and sending information to different parts. Okay, we will check that. I'm looking for a specific function that I can't remember what the name is. Send items to delete. So give me a second because I lost my track here. Well, I think I'm going to take it from here. So let's say, let's continue. Since we know we need to send some information to the database, this is just how you will send a post request to Node Express using Angular. Okay, so we need to parse this, or need to parse to send the content type as application JSON. Inside the headers, we are now adding the title, the content, and this done false that is not even being used. So we are creating the object and parsing that object, okay, and stringifying that object and passing the headers, and we're just going to post to this HTTP localhost 8000 to-dos. As you can see, I have this one working. That is my service running at localhost 8000. Okay, so that's my server running. So let's go. This is a nice place to start checking this one. As I said, I'm not going to go inside the whole details because you should already know how to use Mongoose, how to use your schema, and how to make the calls to Mongo. Okay, but we will take a little look at how this thing is structured. So we need course, of course, we need .env to make our .env file. We need our connection to Mongo, our body parser, and our course. So we have this use course because we need to be able to connect from our SPA to our API. Okay, so essentially this, as I said, on my other videos, this is the same as having course enabled. So, but since I installed this course, I don't need this. Okay, so you have that, you can play with that. And we have our routes, what we are going to use, that are coming from this item and our error handling. And that's it. Okay, so let's take a look at the model. You can see the model has the ID, the title, the content. That's why I didn't need the UUID, because Mongoose is going to create the ID, and we're passing the title, content, and done with the types, string, and boolean, and if they are required or not. So using this schema, we create our model, and we have that here inside our item route. So if we post something, as I said before, we're going to check this one. We're going to hit this post, and we're going to we're going to get the body. As I posted something before, we're getting this title, content, and done. Okay, so that's what we are sending, and we are creating a new to-do that is going to send. It's going to have a new instance of our to-do with a new ID, with the title, with the content, and with this done in boolean. And after that, we're just going to save and respond. So if the save is correct, we're going to respond with this status 201 that was created and to-do was successfully created, or to-do was saved successfully. If there's an error, we're going to check if that error happens and return a 400 status with a message and the error message. Okay. So let me go back online. Service worker online. Let me refresh this. Did I send something? Nope. It's breaking. This is breaking really bad. Okay. So this is the first post. Okay. Okay. I have an error. Maybe. Okay. Let's refresh that. So okay, this is not expected. Error. Gateway timeout. Let me check if this is. Let me clear that. Okay. We are back again. So this is the first post. Delete. Okay, it's not refreshing. I don't know why. An error occurred. The script. Let's wait. Let's try to delete that. Cause error carry exists on the store. Okay, so what is saying? Oh, okay. So maybe because I stopped and tried to explain all this, it says that we already have something here. So let's delete this one. Refresh database and delete database. Okay. And let's go to delete database, because this one, it says we already have this value, so we cannot have a duplicate. So let's delete that and let's check. So we create the two instances back. You can see these two are created again. And let's see what we have. I already clicked delete. So let's see. Network application. Service worker. Oh, I know why. I was offline the whole time. Okay. Well, at least you saw how to delete this database in case you have an error. So this will not allow duplicates. So in case you have an error, it's because you have a duplicate. And now, after we deleted, we sent the ID. Okay, so what the problem was that I was still on offline and I was clicking, trying to delete that one, and it was sending and trying to send the ID to the index, and it was saying, hey dude, we already have this one. So yeah, that's the first part, to add the to do using Mongo. We have our pulse or bulk, but we will check that in a second. So we are getting the to-dos, constant to-dos. We're finding all the to-dos and responding that. If there's an error, we just console that. Else, we're responding with all our to-dos. Okay, that's why we have them down here. So let me refresh this just to be safe. Let me click that away. And so, as I said, when we remove a to-do, as I did, so we're going to send the usual thing with the content type. We're going to return this HTTP client request that we're going to pass the delete, the URL plus what Mongo was expressed is waiting, that is the ID. We're going to stringify that and pass it in the body. Okay, so we're passing only the ID in the delete request. So let's go to the delete request here, that we should have a delete. Okay, so you can see it's waiting for an ID. So this is what just happened. We're just consoling this, and you can see it's inside an array. It's inside these square brackets. So oh, but that is because we are offline. So let's check that first. Because we're offline, we're just going to store everything we have inside the IndexedDB. So let's check that again. So I said this is that's why, and some people are like, dude, these are not tutorials. Okay, these are not tutorials. These are code reviews. Because I don't have the time to, I barely have the time to do all this, because it's going to take me like what, 1 hour. We're only 30 minutes and we still have the half of the information. Let's say first post. First post. Tell me it's not from work. Tell me it's not from work. Okay, no, it's not from work. Okay. So this has been saved. Let me check how we are working with this, because I don't want this to. So okay. So we have this one. So let me add another one. Second post. Okay, it refreshes. Okay, so now we are online. We are sending the simple request. Every time we click here, we are sending a simple request. Okay, and let's delete one, and let's actually go to the one I was going to explain. So this delete. Oh, well, sending water. Okay. So we're going to pass this ID, and this is what actually is. Now you can see the difference. It's not inside an array, it's just the pure URL string. So this is the function that is being called. The to delete, we pass the ID we are getting from the request that we are storing there in this ID variable, and we're going to delete. If the item was not found, well, there's nothing to delete. And if the item was found, then we console that the deletion was successful and all that. So this is when we are online. Okay, I think okay. All this is happening as we are online. Okay, now let's delete this. Let's go offline and let's explain how this is working. Why is this so big? Okay, so offline 1, this is offline 1, submit. Offline 2, this is offline 2. Okay, as I explained, it's all going to be sent into this test database. Let's check the to-dos. We have offline 1 and offline 2. Okay, so this should be easier to explain now. Nope, this is not it. Get all to-dos. We already know how we are getting all to-dos. Let's just returning from the to-dos. Okay. So because I have a function here, yeah, let me go to my main. So we are at the component right now. We're not going to check the component. There's nothing else to check there. So when we add on the submit, okay, I guess we're going to check that. On the submit, we're calling this add to do. This is where I wanted to get. Okay. So this add to do, what it's doing is sending the form data. So you will see how this makes sense in a second. You know, all that I've been trying to explain. And notice I'm routes. So let's check inside our to-do service this add to do that we are here. So this add to do is going to take place when we submit the form. Okay, so this is where I explain. Well, this is where most of the things are going to make sense. Okay, so well, I'm marking this to do as false because I'm sending that and I'm just marking the false, but I'm not using it, so there's nothing here that we could use in order to explain how this is working. So forget about this part. So we're going to check if this offline that is online. If we are not online, we're going to say this, we're going to call this that add to IndexedDB. So there's a function that is add to. So we're going to call this function add to IndexedDB that is going to add all the, we're on the offline part now, okay? It's going to add to the IndexedDB. Right now, we have 2 because I added 2 in this offline state of the browser. Okay, let's go to test database tools. Okay. So if we are offline, we're going to use this function to add to our database the to-dos we have added using the form. So this database, remember that this DB is the IndexedDB instance. So inside we have a to-dos, that is the name of the let me see. Okay, this is the name. This is what we're getting, the to-dos, okay, that I added using it's not up there. Okay, so it's this one. That's the name you're going to use. So add to index. Okay. So we're going to add our to do, and then we're going to save our to do's whatever we have on an array. call all items. Okay, why? Because we need something to send, and we're going to, I guess we're going to send an array. I haven't, I built this one weeks ago, I mean months ago, I think. And but you can see in the console that is this array that we are reading, that on which we are storing the to-dos inside the IndexedDB. Okay, so see, we're kind of almost at the end, maybe. So let me check. So this is what this one is doing, is adding all the all inside the to-dos and using those to-dos, reading from all those to-dos and adding into an index array. I mean into an all items array. Okay, this one. That is if we are offline, but if we are online, we're just going to send the to-do and respond, and just with the response from the server. So this one is essentially just adding something, submitting, and all that, being online, sorry. It's making a single request to the API and showing, that's why you can see some are inside an array and some are, as I have here. Let me make this a little, okay. And some are just the objects, okay, because these ones are the online and these ones are the offline, because we are not, I mean, we know that if we are online, we can only send one by one, okay, but if we are offline, the user can create multiple. And how we're going to manage that? Okay, we're just going to send an array. So that's why we are reading the contents of the indexed application. So we are reading the context of these two. Remember, we are offline now. Okay, we are still offline. So if I where am I? Service. If I click on, if I get back online and refresh, you can see we have our two offline to-dos. So okay, so but you might be asking how you are sending those to-dos or those posts or whatever, or these are the different functions. How you're sending that? Let me check for the function. So up here, oh, this is a little tricky. You might see, you can see that this is a lot of moving the information back and forth, but you will have this file, so don't worry. You can check the video and check this the files. I'm just looking for a function. We already added that, and it's going to be the same with the delete. We're just going to add the ID, but we're going to check that in a bit. Okay, so we have this. There's another place when we are using, what the fuck? Send items from IndexedDB. There's another place when we are adding that. Okay. When I first showed you this to-do service, I showed you that we were using send items to delete. Nope. That we are checking for the connection. Okay, we're subscribing to that and we're checking if we are online or offline. So when we are offline, as we were when I added these first two offline to-dos, we're just going to console we are offline. Everything that happens now is going to be stored inside the IndexedDB. But as soon as I clicked and came back online, we're just going to console. We went back online and sending all the stored items. So it's going to use this function as soon as I click this back online. Okay, it's going to use send items from IndexedDB. So how we're going to send that? This is going to send information to the bulk routes that we have. I will show you that in a second. So it's going to console sending items. We're going to check. We're going to receive all the to-dos as an array, and we're going to store them in all items. And the bulk to-do, this type bulk to-do is going to receive all that array and pass that. And after that, we're going to clear, because we don't want to have the same information still there. We are just going to clear the IndexedDB. Okay. So this one is bulk to do. So we have this bulk to do that is going to have this. I just said any because why not? But this is an array. We're going to send set the content type as application JSON and send this request to the bulk route using the stringify JSON to stringify our to-dos array. And let's check what we have in the to-dos item. Let me close this one. So we are receiving this inside this bulk. We're receiving an array. That's why this one specifically is inside an array. Okay, so right now we're checking the adding information. Okay, and you can see sometimes when I click online offline, it's just sending an empty array. So this is what it's going to have. It's going to have objects with the title, content, and done that matches our objects inside Mongo. So we're going to use insert many, the request body, or you can create your own variable, however you want to deal with that. So we're going to, what it's going to do here is going to check for each object and perform the insert action inside our Mongo database. So that's the only thing it's doing here. Okay, and it's going to be the same with our bulk delete. So let's click offline again. Let's refresh. Okay, why I'm not getting my getaway timeout. Why the hell is not? Okay, let me even refresh this. Control C, HTTP server. Oh, it's going to open inside. Oh, okay. So let's actually refresh this. Okay. You can see it's a little tricky to work with this. Okay, so that's why I'm not making a tutorial about this. So we are offline currently, or we should be offline. Let me check. Okay, we are offline. So if I click delete, nothing's going to happen. We're just going to save into the delete database. And if I click delete here again, it's going to check the other ID. Okay, so this one is being stored inside the done to do's database. You can see the two. and this should be deleted, but I guess because the gateway timeout, it didn't delete that, but it should delete those at the end. So let's check the code, because it's the same. We're going to make a bulk request to delete. We're going to pass the to-dos that are inside a database. That is, let me see, delete. This is the same. It's checking for the connection changes. If we are online, we are going to send all the to-dos inside that database. Set items to delete. Okay, we are passing all inside the done database and storing them inside this array. I'm just calling this bulk delete that is going to hit the bulk delete, and we're going to use delete many, pass the ID. It's going to check for that ID. It's going to make something like a for each and delete each post or to do or whatever. And application, I always forget this, offline, let's refresh that. And you can see that those are deleted. So let me check my to-dos. We still have this one, although it should be, these two should be deleted. So let's say something. Let me try something, because this could be a bug of some kind. And let me see if there's something else. We already checked all the I think we checked already all the functions inside this item service. But yeah, it's pretty messy. So there's a lot of information. I think we're done with that. So let me check, so you can see maybe if this is not working correctly. Let me delete this database. Yep. Let me delete this database. Okay, you can see that those are created. And let's go offline. Refresh this and say first post. This is the first post. Submit. Second post. This is the second post. Okay. Let's go back to. Oh, because it's trying. Okay. So this gateway timeout is because it's trying to send, but since we are offline now, well, it cannot send it. So it's trying, but it can't. Also fetching the to-dos. Application. So this database to-dos, we have those two. And let's check online, refresh, and we get those two. So let's check. We still have these two. So let's see if what happens, because this shouldn't be, this should, okay. Let's go back to service worker offline third to do. Let's see if it sends that, because I'm not sure. This is the, it should be deleting after coming back online. We are offline now, so nothing changes here. So let's click this one, let's refresh. Okay, so it's sending just one. So it's removing, it should be removing all that, but I don't know why it's some entries might have been modified. So all this is a little bug that seems to be happening. Okay, so you can see we have nothing. So yeah, so seems to be working as expected. Let's go to service worker offline, delete, delete, delete. Okay, we could maybe add something to mark as delete, as deleted, or something like that, or mark for deletion. Because right now you can also click again, or maybe disable this, so you can also click again and add. It's going to add the same ID, so that's going to mess with the code, but you will have to take a look at that. So now if I go back online, okay, those ones are deleted. So yeah, as I said, this is not for beginners. Okay, you need to manage the information in certain ways, and I'm not sure if I'm going to make a little tutorial about this, from scratch, because it's too much and it requires too much time. So right now I had the time to do this, but maybe creating a tutorial will be like 3 times or 4 times the time I need to, because it requires a lot of information, okay? A lot of error handling, and it's a lot of things. So yeah, this is I think this is it. Sorry if I missed something, but all this is how you would regularly manage your component. If you don't know what this thing is doing, it's just refreshing the component, the whole component, because we are not right now we're not getting. We could use maybe something like behavior subject to get it to all the to-dos, but right now I just went for this. Nope, this is not it. I just went for this kind of refreshing system. Yeah. So after even sending the bulk, we're going to clear all the to-dos inside that, and also sending items to array is doing the same as the other one. That is getting. This is send items to delete and send items from IndexedDB. So this one is sending to the backend, and this one is sending to the backend the ones we mark to be deleted. So I even have some little comments. So yeah, I think that's it. I know it was kind of messy, but most of the things you will see when working as a freelancer are going to be like this. So all these needy little, tidy tutorials most of the times will not make sense when you're working with something real. But we'll try to create better tutorials for people that are still learning, and maybe add some editing to my videos. Right now I won't add that, maybe until, I don't know, some more weeks. But yeah, uh, I will try to improve the content for the channel, so wait for that. So I also managed to explain all this. So yeah, I think that's it. Oh, I thought the OBS was not recording. So I think that's it, and let me click this one. Okay, so you can see this. Okay, and I think that's it. And if you have any comment, just please let me know in the comments what you want, what you think. I read right now. I don't have million comments on my, so I read all the comments as they as YouTube notifies me. So I know I need to make. Someone asked for a MERN tutorial from scratch. I might add something small there, because as I said, right now I don't have the time. But yeah, I'm checking all your requests, but understand that it will take some time until I reach the standards from a YouTuber, because I don't do this for a living. So I'm still kind of learning. I'm still kind of trying and testing how the waters are moving. And yeah, so this is it, and see you on the next one.